Tanse, Kim Barker Kane Sikasan. Hi, my name is Kim Barker Kay. I'm going to talk right now a little bit about land acknowledgements and doing land acknowledgements. It's helpful to know that land acknowledgements was a practice that dated way back to pre-contact and has recently emerged thanks to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's calls to action. And it came forward as an act of reconciliation for non-Indigenous people. And it began with people would acknowledge treaty land that they were on, the nations and people of the land, and reflect on what it means to them to be a settler or a non-Indigenous person living on that treaty territory. And always, always, we were encouraged to do it from the heart and to make sure that it was coming from the heart. Over time, it's kind of evolved into, it was blurry as to who did the land acknowledgement and who was writing the land acknowledgements. And then it became that some people were concerned that it didn't really mean anything anymore in some situations. I started to ask colleagues, Indigenous colleagues, friends of mine, and knowledge keepers and an elder about the guidance that they could offer to me when I was formulating my own personal land acknowledgement. And the advice I got was to, of course, always the acknowledgement of the land and the treaty land, to also include the Cree language, if I could, if possible, to include elders, an acknowledgement of elders, about also what I'm grateful for about being on this land. And the other piece that was suggested to me was about making a commitment. What kind of action in a true act of reconciliation, what kind of action are you going to commit to? What will you commit to? More recently, this is evolving and changing again as to expectations of what you might put into a land acknowledgement. And now the discussion is not to include treaty because treaties were a settler creation. So instead to focus more on the nations in the area and the other pieces that I shared with you, definitely. But I guess the work is for the person who is putting together a land acknowledgement to do some research, to learn a little bit more about what it is that they're acknowledging. And then, of course, always, 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 you want to continue your land acknowledgement to be from the heart, like a truly heartfelt land acknowledgement offering. And I'm going to just give you an example of one that I made, being on Treaty 8 territory, trying to follow elders' recommendations. So this is one that I've made and have made some changes to. I'm grateful to be on Nihiawaski Oma Anoch, Cree land today. I acknowledge those who took care of it for a very, very long time. I feel deep respect for the First Nations, Métis, and elders of this Treaty 8 territory and for all that has been shared with me over the years. I commit to continuing to learn about how to live on and respect this land and its people, and I commit to passing on this learning to my children and grandchildren. Thank you. The way I would modify it to make it fit today is, instead of the statement of feeling deep respect for the First Nations, Métis, and elders of this Treaty 8 territory, I would go deeper and to the nations that are in the area where I live. And for example, I feel deep respect for the elders and peoples of Durpal First Nation, Sucker Creek First Nation, Capowino First Nation, East Prairie Métis Settlement, and Peavine Métis Settlement. These are communities and nations in the local area where I live. And there's more if I go beyond a further scope. But the point of land acknowledgement is The person who's giving it should be a non-Indigenous person, and that person should have done some research and some deep thought and speak in a way that comes from the heart. So I hope that helps. Thank you.